You know,
Yeah.
I remember when vaping first came in on the scene, and it was definitely messaged as a safer alternative to cigarettes and the smoking cessation. I remember a friend of mine was opening a vape shop for the purpose of helping people slowly downgrade their intake of nicotine. And I don't know how that went for him, but that was the messaging in the beginning, and there goes the slippery slope.
You know, this
Yeah.
technology is so new. It still is. I mean, if you do the research on it, I believe vaping sort of came onto the consumer marketplace about maybe 15 years ago, which really isn't a lot of time when you're talking about the impact on human health.
And what are some of the real bad health? I mean, I heard popcorn lung is one. I mean, obviously it takes time to see historically what the effects are going to be, but what are we starting to see right now?
Well, popcorn lung was one of the first things that doctors began to see. And of course, when the word got out, oh my gosh, this vaping pen is inflaming the lung sacs. So guess what the industry did? They tweaked the chemistry of the pod contents and the temperature of the heating element just enough so that it wasn't causing popcorn lung anymore. That's like crazy that you could just sort of calibrate just enough to get under the radar so you're not inflaming the lung sacs per se. But what are the long-term effects? We still don't know because, again, this technology is so new. Think about when the cigarettes first came on and how long it took before, you know, lung cancer began to manifest in such a way that the tobacco industry suddenly was the big bad wolf.
Right. And the ads back then, the Marlboro Man, you know, how cool it was to smoke. And, you know, and then remember the ad that came out years and years later of basically it was the Marlboro Man on his horse, almost like with a ventilator, you know, because he couldn't breathe. Laura, when we were off air, we were talking about new ones that have come out that are less expensive and how a kid's, you know, getting the money to get these things. Want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, so they're called Disposables, and there's all different kinds of brands, and every time you turn around, it's whack-a-mole. There's another new brand, but they're about $15. So kids who are younger in junior high, they don't have jobs, but you know, grandma gives them money for their birthday or their holidays, and so they're able to get their fix, get their addiction vaping from, you know, something that is throwaway. You get like, I don't know, it's Joe, is it like 600 hits or something like that, or 60 hits off of one of these disposables, and then they throw them away. And so it's not as expensive as it was. It's a little less expensive. Now, Puff Bar was another one that came out. And when that came out, I had someone working with me and she said, oh, you need to let Mara Healy know about this company. So we did. We let her assistant know, and didn't Mara sue them? So she won. So there's just so many different names, and kids, they're very devious. They'll have stuff, they'll order it online, have it sent to the neighbor's house, go get it. Or, you know, older people, from what our gentleman that came and spoke with us said, there's these older people that are buying a ton of stuff online and turning around and reselling it to kids. So they're illegal dealers. And Joe will probably remember that a little better than me because he asked him all the questions. Joe?
Yeah, there are these nefarious individuals out there. It's almost like Breaking Bad, where once they understand the chemistry and the technology, they're able to recycle these pods. And so you've got like neighborhood craft pods. And as you heard Lori share, you know, dab pens. So now they're mixing up their own brew that these kids are using.
Mark, you got a couple of questions about this, or?
No, I was queuing you up to make sure that you asked
Ask the two questions, of course, because we only have a few minutes left. Thank you. You know, Folks, where would I be without Mark and Tom, my co-hosts? So, you know, we talk about the I am approach, which is the idea that we're all doing the best we can at every moment in time. And that includes the kids who are vaping. You know, if you think about this, you put something into the biological domain of your lungs, you're going to change their environment and you're going to change their response. And that's what happens. It doesn't always mean it's good, but it is the best that lung can do. So the I am four domains: your home domain, the social domain, the biological domain, and the I see, how I see myself, how I think other people see me. And we've actually been talking about all four of these domains tonight. We've spoken about the kids' secrecy at home, the peer pressure in their social domain, the way they see themselves and the way they fear other people see them, which is stigma, and then the effect on their lungs. Small changes can have big effects. So I'm going to ask you first, Lori, and then go to you, Joe. What small change can you recommend to our listening audience so that we can manage this vaping?
Well, I would say get involved. Parents, if you're seeing windows open in the middle of winter, that means your kid's probably doing something. So start the small changes is when the kids in school are not home, go through their rooms. That's your property. You need to know. You do. You need to know what they're up to because sometimes they don't know what they're doing. They still need you to be their parent.
Joe, small changes can have big effects. What small change can you recommend to our listeners?
I'd like to speak to the parents, and that is to suggest they take the time to really sit down and have a calm, non-lecturing kind of conversation with their child or any small child that's in their, their family nucleus. That child could be vaping and they're afraid, they're ashamed, and just having a very non-judgmental type of conversation might be just the thing to make a difference in that child's life.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with both of you. The parents, it's your absolute prerogative to go and figure out what's going on in your kid's room or wherever. And Joe, you're absolutely right. If you approach a kid with anger or judgment, don't be surprised if they put up a wall. But one of the things parents need to know is this kid would not be keeping it a secret from you if they didn't care what you thought. They still care what you think. That's why they're keeping it secret, or else they'd be doing it right in front of you. Which gets to the second point. Because everyone is interested in what other people think or feel about them, and you're part of someone's home or social domain, and affect the way they think and feel about themselves, which has an effect on their brain, this means you control no one, but you influence everyone. You get to choose the kind of influence you want to be. Joe, this time I'm going to start with you. What kind of influence are you hoping to be on our communities?
The best word I could think of is to facilitate knowledge transfer, to share what information we have, and to make it available so that someone else is empowered with the same information we have.
Wow. I mean, that's news, right? That we all actually understand the same thing, but that's another show. Lori, how about you?
Mine would be, it's my purpose, and I try to do this every day, is to educate, inspire, create, connect with children and families for the highest good of all concern. So I'm always taking action on that every day. So that's where I'm at.
Wonderful. Folks, this has been really important. I hope people understand that nicotine is a danger. Vaping is a danger. Pills are a danger. Help your kids out. Talk with them calmly. That's what it's about. Thanks so much for coming on the show tonight, folks. We'll see you all next week here at the Dr. Joe Show.